Yes, the Shoulder FootyCast here on the 23rd of January, day before my birthday, actually, Skeet. I'm sure you've got my present loaded up here from BackChat Studios. How are you, mate? Did you have a good weekend?
I had a great weekend, and happy birthday in advance to you.
Thank you. I knew you were going to say that anyway.
Well, I don't follow those types of milestones religiously.
Good, neither do I.
But I will say this, any special arrangements for Alex and the kids looking after you tomorrow? Do anything special?
Me, Alex doing something for me, or me doing something for Alex? I won't be doing anything for anybody.
So Alex doing something for you.
I've been, my calendar's been blocked out. It's actually a surprise. Unavailable Tuesday and Wednesday. Yes,
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah,
the festival, the festivus.
the bonanza of Schofield. The social Shoulder FootyCast. I'm sweating a bit. I don't know why. I just had a little bit of coffee. FootyCast at shelterbrewing.com.au is the email. You can send it through. Watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us as a podcast. Either one of those you're not doing. Shelter's Summer of Sour this summer,
Yep.
Skeeter. I've got to remind you, mate. I'm just going to start with it this time. There's a Victor mower on the line. Do you have a lawn?
Yeah, we've got a lawn. Yeah, good lawn.
Do you mow it?
Absolutely not.
Who mows?
Mate, you've got to understand, and we talked about this last week, the depths of my lack of ability around the house.
Manhood.
No, useless. Absolutely useless.
So Shelter, we're challenging people to push their boundaries and sip on a sour. So we still haven't got you we haven't given you a sour.
I've run out of shelter at home, by the way, so if we've got a couple, I might just swing by.
Yeah, are you happy to try a sour this summer?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, because we want to challenge the boundaries around beer. Perfect summer drop, refreshing, crisp, crushable. There's a great prize pool. This is all online. You can jump on Shelter's website, shelterbrewing.com.au. You can win a mini Mel surfboard. I've seen that. Looks very good. Do you surf, Skate?
Do I look like a surfer? Considering I'm wearing Julius Marlowe's and you haven't even bothered to... Like, at least last week you had some slippers on. Now you just go and roll on no shoes at all. Fair income.
A Victor Lawnmower $600 exclusive escape voucher. Do your holiday, Skeet. Can your holiday with the best of them.
I love the 5-star. You know, I've just got to that stage in life where I'm not going to take anything less than something very good.
Well, grab a sour. Shelter's got some great ones. Shelter born and brewed in Busselton. The summer of sour, thanks to Shelter. Let's get into it. It's a somber start to the show. I do want to mention this on the top. Rhett Bazzo, just absolute thoughts and wishes go out to him and his family. He's lost his mother over the weekend in a just a tragic, brutal accident down in Mandurah. So I did want to start with that.
Yeah, Kylie, 52 years of age, far too young, and of course to Rhett and also his sister, who I think is coming back from holidays in Canada to be back here. As a community in sport, of course, the West Coast Eagles will wrap their arms around Rhett, having lost his father Steve, who was a really good player in the waffle. To melanoma, it's a tough time, and the young bloke, I think, just needs to be given, in a football sense, it means nothing footy at the moment. No. Just get yourself back to hopefully feeling, I can't put into words that type of. We both lost fathers, but to lose both your parents would be at that age. Yeah,
it's devastating, and we well wishes and thoughts are with the Bazzo family. We're going to move from that. We're going to have a little sting here. Will Schofield, Mark Redding's Shoulder FootyCast. Peter Bowl, Skate. I want to ask you about him. He's a big friend of the BackChat family. We've chatted to Pete. We ran into him in Guzman and Gomez in Leederville. I actually, about 2 months ago, I actually started rethinking. I wonder if he'd been told. I don't think he would have known by then, because it does take 8 to 12 weeks to get these results back from WADA. Peter Bowles tested positive to EPO. I've seen a lot of. I know there's got to be careful about the wording, but that's what's happened. His A sample has come back positive to EPO. So it's a. I don't know what sort of situation.
His career is perilous.
Mate, his livelihood. That's what he does.
It's his career, his reputation, and you talked about bumping into him. I did the Mandurah Sports Awards in November with him. I'm not sure when he was alerted to the positive test, but there was no way that he knew at that point. His demeanour. We both know he's delightful. He's engaging. The only issue I have now from looking forward is even hearing from guys like Dr. Peter Larkins about the only way you have EPO in your system is really by injecting. Now, I know he's handed over his computer. He's declared his innocence. He was tested more than 20 times last year, as in 2022, negative on all occasions. But once a positive B sample comes out, if it comes out, and invariably, if A is positive, B generally, to my knowledge, follows. So that puts him... And look, even if he is innocent, the fight, and we've seen Shayna Jack and others go through it, the fight to clear your name or to get a sentence reduced, it's just a harrowing. It just will be a protracted affair. Which, look, as an outsider, to see the time that it takes for this process to play out, it seems inordinate. But that's coming from a place outside of the sport.
Well, yeah. So not that I'm a runner, an athlete, but being an athlete, I've been tested by WADA. It's ASADA. It's now the
new agency. Yeah, it's
whatever it's called
sport
now.
Doping, whatever it is. Yeah.
It's under the international body, which is what Peter Bowles tested under. I've done these tests. Probably tested. Dan Const asked me how many times he'd been tested. I've probably tested 2 times a year on average for 14 years. It's a pretty rigorous test. There's no element of contamination. Like it's just.
Do you ever get nervous going in for a test? I know.
Yes, absolutely. It's like booze bus.
It's a bit like with a booze bus. Even if you had nothing for some reason,
absolutely every time, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, mate. Like and some of these times you're giving blood, and the reason you're nervous, and this is the reason. At least with a booze bus, you know if you've drunk or not, right?
I know, but even when I'm driving up to a booze bus and I've had my last beer the day before, I go, just weird things go through your head.
Correct. But with a WADA test, I used to think this all the time. As an athlete, you are told from day one, whatever is in your body it's up to you. It doesn't matter if it's an accident, if someone else has done it to you. There is no excuse for having performance-enhancing drugs in your system. So it's your responsibility at all times. And so as an athlete, if something is in a supplement, if something's in a painkiller, if someone has spiked your drink, right, it actually doesn't matter. So that's why you get nervous, because you think, well, I guess you could be unlucky here. And so, look, my first inflection is to believe Peter Bowl, and he doesn't know anything about it, and it's totally news to him, and knows nothing about it. But as you said off the top, it's also incredibly hard to believe, from my point of view, that something could be accidentally in your system. So I just hope for the best for Peter Bowl. He's come out and said he's innocent, so I'd like to believe him. But whether or not that'll happen will be up to the system. But it also seems like an absolute shambles of a system. Like, it takes them forever to do it. The B sample hangs around, so he's going to live with this for the next 2 months while the B sample's getting tested. You think they'll be able to bump it up the list a little bit? I don't know. Maybe it's more complex than I think.
Yeah, I think you're right on all those fronts. And I think at the end of the day, I don't want to believe that he's guilty until there's irrefutable evidence. And look, Peter, as you say, maybe because we've met the bloke, we know he's a terrific fella. But
would, in his mind right now, he would just be, I'm sure, and his team, they would be just going through his life with a fine-tooth comb. If, in fact, it has been nothing to do with something he's done, he's got to look at who he's been interacting with, where he's been, what he's taken, literally for the last 4 months.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you eat for dinner last Monday?
Yeah, I mean, you can't remember. I can't. No, it's a fair call, and people get asked these in when it's a legal matter, when you're in court, and I understand that. I remember going back, it was almost 20 years ago now. I went to school with Dean Capobianco, and he won a school gift and represent Australia, and I became very good mates with Matt Barber. We did the Ashes together, and had, of course, Kappa got done similarly and protested his innocence. And so, look, I'm not naive enough to think that a lot of athletes don't take masking agents for drugs because, as someone said to me this morning, to compete at the top level, to actually be really competitive, a fair percentage of athletes are taking something. And I wouldn't disbelieve that.
I would.
What, that there's not? It's not rampant.
Is that ignorant by me?
I'm not saying ignorant. I can understand if someone says to me, "Look, the only way to beat Will Schofield on the track over 800 metres is to take this because he's on this." I mean, it's.
Wouldn't that mean that there's AFL players doing it? I just like the reason I have never in my 15 years.
No, I think AFL's slightly different.
Why?
Do because in football, I mean, athleticism is a significant part. But when you're running 100 metres, when you're running 800 metres, I think that it comes down to the split seconds. So I think you'd be naive not to think that athletes, the best athletes, and we've seen it proven over a long time, take them, and I still think they do.
Right.
Do you think we're pretty clean now in athletics?
I'm living in a world of bliss. I think it's because of my experience, and I see AFL as a top level sport.
Yeah, of course.
Not one skerrick of I haven't heard a story. I haven't I certainly haven't, had anything spoken to me personally, but I haven't even, usually when you hear things going on, you know what's going on. You hear someone say something and, mate, I've heard not one thing about performance-enhancing drugs. So that's probably where my view comes from, but yours is equally
We'll put it this way. Do you think cycling is clean?
Well, no, because I guess it's proven not to. But I guess athletics the same there. Yeah, maybe I'm just ignorant. I don't know.
Look, I'm sure there's a large element of they're trying to clean the sport up, but while there's a chance to make a win a gold medal, and you've got that lure of trying to get that 1%, 2% advantage,
I hope that's not.
No, so do I. But yeah, it's our thoughts are with them, and we can't wait to find out what the end result will be.
You've been watching the Aussie Open. You're a tennis fan, aren't you?
I am, to a degree.
I mean, there was a late game. Andy Murray Kokonakis, 5.5 hours.
4 o'clock.
It's 4 in the morning.
Couldn't go for a toilet break, Andy.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved. You know what? I go back 15 years ago, and Andy Murray, you saw this surly Scot wandering around the court, and he thought, you'd like to paint the villain and the hero, and he was always the villain because he gave not much.
What's he now?
I just think, having spoken to people that have met him and say he's a delightful bloke, you sort of had to barrack for him in this tournament because mid-30s, had the hip issues, had all sorts of injuries, and to do what he's done, I thought was terrific. So, look, who am I barracking? Well, look, Alex Demonor takes on the Joker this afternoon.
Yes.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Alex is playing some good tennis, but the Joker, if he's fit...
If he's fit and plays well.
But he wins the tournament.
Yeah, correct.
Full stop.
Because it's a softish draw now. Tsitsipas is still there.
Yeah, he was good yesterday, 5-setter. Of course, he played in Perth recently, so Sinner just seems to fall over against the bigger names. The women's draw's totally wide open.
Are you a Steve Smith fan? Switching to cricket, you a Steve Smith fan?
Yeah, massive.
How good's he? He's just
genius.
Smacked out a couple of hundred.
Genius.
I read some stat. He's hit them the most amount of sixes, and he gave everyone like a 13-game head start.
Yeah. Well, but the funny thing is, he couldn't make our T20 World Cup team, and he isn't renowned as a T20 player, but he's been elevated up the top playing for the Sydney Sixers. He was 125. He was just smashing them. And interesting. On the way back from the Gold Coast, I was in the Qantas Club, standing at the buffet area. And
what were you doing there? What were you doing at the buffet area?
Well, the Qantas Club. There's a place where you eat food.
I was just loading in a couple of plates.
No, I was just, and he was having his ham and toasted cheese sandwich, and I was sort of just prowling for anything that just was loose. There was really anything that might just fit in my mouth at that time in the morning. And he's just such a unassuming athlete in terms of stature. Yes. He's not tall. He's not muscle. He's just.
Let's be honest. He looks like just like a little something. I don't know.
Smudge is his nickname.
Yeah.
He just looks like no one that would bother. And yet he comes out and plays beautifully.
People forget he's close to, if not the best batsman in the world. I know he's missed time, but he's...
Look, forget Sandpaper Gate. This bloke is a gun. He's scored more centuries than Sir Donald Bradman, albeit, obviously, the test match differential there. But he's going to play for Sussex for a short stint before the Ashes. He's going to India. If he plays well, Australia has a chance in the series against India and England. If he fails, and remember back to 2019, if he doesn't play like he did, we lose.
Yes.
Full stop, we lose. He is going to be the difference between us retaining the Ashes or doing well in India.
Will Schofield, Mark Reddings, Shelter FootyCast.
Before we do go...
Oh, my God.
Check in. Do we need to address the fact that Skeets is high flyer, just checking in the Qantas Club with Steve Smith? Is that how you roll these days, Skeet?
The Qantas Club high flying? I sat in 11A... squeezed up against my wife and my daughters because I pay, a few $100 a year to sit in the Qantas Club, have some tomato juice early in the morning and maybe a toasted sandwich.
Do you wear a bit of a collar on the plane?
No, but I wear shoes, Scully. I wear clothes. Fuck, I know you're at your own sort of home studio here.
How about home?
It just must be nice if you contributed to some sort of fashion input.
I'll be shirtless next week on the Shelter FootyCast. Let's go to the break.
Anyway.
All right, let's have a little bit of a look of WA footy and the AFL. Of course, this is the FootyCast here on Shelter, thanks to BackChat Studios. The Shelter's Summer of Sour. Freo Dockers, they had a bit of a match simulation last week. There was a bit of big double page spread in the paper. I will start with match sim at this time of the year in January. Clubs are trialling things out. Clubs try to pick two even teams. This is at least what they did at West Coast. You don't start getting into teams towards round one until sort of mid-Feb, late Feb, early Jan, mid-Jan. It's actually no good because I used to cop it because I was a fringe player for the entirety of my career. But they put the teams up and they split the teams into 2 rooms and they treat it like a game. But what West Coast used to do was the coaches used to split up and they used to have mock match committees and they used to do like a live draft or it's quite good. But what they're trying to do is make even teams so they can see. They don't want the best
Mismatch.
midfield against the waffle midfield. Like you just don't learn anything.
That's why I saw the great vision. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was going back obviously in time. But you and JK into match sim, and it was highly competitive.
Correct. So they want that competition because they want to test things out, like Nat Fyfe going forward. Now, just because he played forward for the entire match sim, I don't think that means he's going to be a full-time forward. I think we'll see him in the midfield a lot this year, but it was, well publicised that he didn't play that well. But it made me think the coverage is just increasing and increasing and increasing. Like 5 years ago, no one's going down to match sim mid-January and doing a match report on... They wouldn't have played a game either. They would have played 2 20-minute halves, probably, like maybe a little bit more. They wouldn't have played 60 minutes of 15-minute quarters. They'd still be building up. So I think the coverage is going beyond.
Is it in part because we're going to have less practice matches or pre-season matches this season? Does that accelerate what you're trying to achieve during the pre-season as opposed to having a look at, we've had in the past sometimes 3-4 practice matches, which for me that's always seemed as a spectator too much.
Well, yeah, because you can get what you need to physically out of a scratch match like this. So I mean we're the 20th of Jan. I think we're still probably 3 weeks away from seeing real meaningful things at match simulation for West Coast and Fremantle. So by the sounds of things going down at Freo, though, a couple of the young players, Erasmus and Matty Johnson, are going really well. They're going to have great competition for spots in their midfield. Of course, Mundy leaves, but O'Meara comes in and you'd think that's like a like for like.
Yep.
Will Brodie O'Meara in the same midfield is going to be interesting, I think, because Will Brodie was he was like an 80-minute burst stoppage beast.
Yep.
And I think O'Meara may be the sort of similar player. So how they manage that will be interesting. And then how they get some of these young players into the mix, which is a Fyfe going forward probably.
Yeah, and the Fyfe going forward question, I think we still don't have the right answer, do we? Because
no. What do you think? What do you think he should do?
If he's 100% fit and right to go,
yes,
and there's no issues with him,
yes.
I mean, and I know there's been some really good chemistry without him in there. But I still see him playing a chunk of footy in the midfield.
Correct.
I mean, that's his. He looks a more comfortable midfielder than forward.
Yeah, I would say him stripping weight means he wants to play more midfield though as well. So I think if you want to go and put him as a key forward, they would have had those discussions before he went away in off season. And the fact that he's dropped weight means to me he wants to be a running type. He wants to be a higher forward at the very minimum than go into the midfield because I think the way the game's going, you can't be that big, bulky Nat Fyfe, who won 2 Brownlow medals looking like that, mind you. I think it's sort of just moving away a little bit. You need to be able to move. You need to be able to get out of stoppage. You need to be able to transition. You need to be able to, that moment, you need to be able to go offense, defense, which hasn't been his strength. I mean, again, 2 Brownlow medals, but he hasn't been a defensive player. No. But perhaps he wants to add that in as he gets older, becoming team-orientated. I think that's a very good Nat Fyfe. What about down the road at West Coast or up the road? Not a lot of news coming out of them over the weekend. I saw some chats with Jai Cully. He thinks he's ready for a start-up midfield. I did mention that at the start of the Shelter FootyCast a couple of weeks back, that he's a real one that sort of slid under the radar a bit. I mean, he reportedly would have been a top 15 draft pick this draft, but West Coast got him in the middle of the year last year.
Absolutely. And you talk of possibilities. Now, Ruben Jinby, who's a young man who's just been drafted. Now, you don't want to put too much on his plate, but physically, I don't know if you had a look at him, but he's a big unit for a young man.
I told you this. I saw him having just a mid-strength shelter, probably, out before Christmas, and he was as tall as me. And he's
a mid.
Mate, he's a midfielder, and he was right eye to eye with me. I made a big deal about it as well. I was like, you are a huge human being, mate. So I think West Coast fans should be very excited about that.
Yeah, exactly. An Eagles perspective, when it comes to their game style this year, do you just put 2022 in the bin and disregard it and go back to what you know?
I think so.
Or do they have to find I mean, obviously, they needed some speed, so they got Hunt into the mix, and they're going to try and change things up a bit. But is it a drastic change that they'll implement, do you think?
As much as the headlines that come out throughout pre-season, I think you can read a little bit into when players speak in the media. You can actually read between the lines a little bit and see what they're doing. So I saw Jack Petruccelli chatting. I saw Jai Cully's chat. Even Jeremy McGovern's chat. They're trying to move the ball quicker. They're trying to be quicker with their play, quicker transition. Notoriously West Coast have been win the ball back in their back line, controlled.
Kick
mark. And then they can go quick from there. But I think we'll see the game going. Like Geelong was a very quick side on that. I spoke about that on Friday, that they transition the ball quickly. So to do that, you need quick players. Yeah, so like a Petruccelli, but you need to make decisions quickly. So I think that's what they would have been training. And I think we'll see a quicker West Coast side. It'll be interesting because what Freo love doing is slowing teams down because they get a really great defensive structure in behind. They've got a really strong back line. So Fremantle would have been, I think, training against quicker ball movement. They would have been trying to get their guys to go quick and see if they can stop it, because I think this year we'll just see an even quicker game, which is good for pundits. It's good for punters. I think there'll be high-scoring games, but Freo want to defend that, whereas West Coast, I think, will have to give up a bit of their defence to go quicker. So that's my Freo on West Coast Raps.
Absolutely. I think, in a nutshell, you think of the team that the Eagles put out at the last round of the season against Geelong down there in the Cattery,
yes,
and how many changes if you're going from week to week to round one this year, potentially with the number of fit bodies and young players. It could be 13 or 14. It could be a massive amount.
Well, I think your call's right. It's probably a binage of where
last year in total. Yeah,
correct. Now I was gonna do some early ladder predictions, but I'll give you some notice. So on Thursday, I want a bit of an early call on who's dropping out, who's coming in. We did this before Christmas. I'm going to go back and research who he said, because I know both of us have forgotten.
Exactly.
So we're going to do who's coming out, who's coming into the 8.
No, it'll work easy.
Oh, easy.
Well, it's an easy call, not an easy to implement.
Oh, you couldn't. If I remember correctly, and we're going to clip this up for Thursday, you had a real struggle at doing this before Christmas. You couldn't do it. You actually couldn't do it.
I'm pretty sure I had a team that lost their first 5 last year, who I think can get back this year. And I'm on the same train as you with the WA teams to some extent. That's all I'll say.
Okay, very good. That's a nice little teaser for next week. AFL as a whole, probably the big news out of last week was Jai Simpkin, Luke McDonald, co-captains at the North Melbourne Footy Club. Jack Zeeble steps down. We're going to chat about co-captains and how they work a little bit later on the show. But Jai Simpkin, Luke McDonald, do you think that's good appointments?
Look, to be honest with you, I mean, Jack Zeeble...
I feel a whack coming.
No, Jack Zeeble's been a really good captain, and I think it's been probably time that he and Clarko coming in. I do have a strong opinion on the joint captaincy. I prefer one, to be honest with you. I think how many times do you have joint captains?
We're gonna go to this at the end of the show. I want to finish with on North Melbourne. I saw a top 10 list. It was a top 10 midfielders prediction.
Yep.
Davies Unaki was.
Is that how you say his name?
Is it?
I don't know. Just asking you.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. LDU.
I'm just thinking of Lee Spur every time you say that.
Please don't put me in Spur's basket. They had him in the top 10 midfielders of the
league.
AFL. Yes. How do you feel about that?
Incorrect.
You wouldn't even.
I just said incorrect.
Okay.
I don't think that's right.
Will Schofield, Mark Reddings, Shelter FootyCast. Let's do a bit of a WA rap, Skeet. The Scorchers, you're a big cricket man. They're on fire. They're straight through. They don't have to play their last game, and they're still in finals, right?
Top of the table. No, they've done and dusted. Finals are up. They've host the qualifier this weekend. Look at Dan just chortling away in the background. Just chortling away.
I thought they had one more. Sorry.
No, they're going okay.
Sorry,
they finished last night with a win over the Renegades.
Yes.
Scored 212.
Yeah, they did pretty well, the Renegades, on the chase.
Did really well. Shaw Marsh, half century in quick time, and Finchy, 70 off, not many. Gave us a bit of a fright, but you'd have to say Cam Bancroft, who had to bide his time through the summer because of the likes of Adam Lyth and Duplessis at the top of the order. So he's made an impact yesterday. Played some magnificent shots. I think 95
not out, yeah.
It's just outstanding. His ramps, everything was spot on. Look, our bowling wasn't great. I think AJ, our mate, went for
about 70.
He went for a ton.
One for a lot.
30 off about one over. Bottom line is, we've got through, we host the final, we win, This weekend, we host the finals.
So they call it the qualifier. What is it? Is that just exactly that?
Like a second semi-final, basically.
Qualifier. So you win it straight to the GF.
Straight to and your host. And your host. They had 32,000 there last night. So
we would get 60k at Optus, wouldn't we?
I reckon you get 55 easy. No, you're right.
You'd sell it out. I'd go to that.
Weather like this, I'll go as long as we got a
free tickets. Yeah.
We'll be there in a heartbeat. I've got to say, we mentioned Steve Smith, but they play here this week. The Sixers, big one, because if the Sixers win, obviously they're the second best side in it at the moment.
Right,
it's pretty even. And T20 is a bit fickle in terms of, if you lose some early wickets, it's a little bit more difficult to forecast. But the Scorchers have been the barometer all season.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I reckon we should maybe get to the prelim as well, the qualifier. We should try and get to the qualifier.
That's on this weekend, isn't it? Well, why not?
Anyone's got any tickets for Mark Reddings and Will Schofield in a box at Optus Stadium would be welcome to take them off your hands. We spoke about Steve Smith before. He's just been on fire. About 130 or something like that. Something crazy.
125 and just
their team made 160. Yeah, mate. 125 of them. Crazy.
He's a genius.
What about the Wildcats? The Wildcats continue to make their way up the table. Now, well, they sort of do. They win against the top of the table and they drop down 2 ladder positions.
No, because they lost yesterday by 21 against South East Melbourne. Now, I know I think you're going to come back and say, look.
See, this is why you're here.
On Friday night, because they beat the Kings, the defending champions.
Yes.
Really good victory. And look, to be honest, it was a high-scoring affair.
It was like heritage round.
Sean Redditch's shirt was retired, number
Lockie
42.
Reed going bananas.
Harry Lockie did a fantastic job.
He's very good at that.
Just screaming at the top of his tits all night, and he does a great job. He loves it. Fans love him.
They want him back.
They want him back
They want him back full time.
They're saying, Hutchie, just get him on the roster to do what he does. How tired would you be doing that?
Oh, mate, I don't know how he does it. Like, that would be such a hard job.
That job and doing what Bazzo does, as Lord Mayor, just go and talking to people that you just don't want to talk to. No, you're saying, you know what I'm saying? You get me.
Mark Reddings is putting his hand up for the mayor position.
No, I don't. No, the last thing I'd want to do is Lockie's job, just screaming and then doing...
Kissing babies.
Anyway. So, Wildcats. Just going back last week, I did say they can't win the championship.
You did.
And I stand by it, because what I saw yesterday... They got out-rebounded 49-25 against the Melbourne Phoenix. And let me just put this caveat in. They had trouble getting to Melbourne. Their flight was cancelled on the Saturday. They played Friday night. Then they backed up in Melbourne Sunday. So it wasn't an easy 48 hours. So let's put that into context. But they were just poor yesterday. They conceded 112, I think it was, points. Their defence was poor. They got out-rebounded. To me, that is where they are short of the best sides. That being said, Sydney lost on Friday. They also got beaten yesterday by New Zealand. They're still the best team in it, and I'm loath to write the Wildcats off. But
you already have.
Because their defence and their ability to rebound, particularly yesterday, there's some massive holes there that I think means they're not going to finish in a strong enough position to challenge the best teams in the comp.
They need to get some home games.
Do I sound like Shane Hill there? Just give me a
little bit. What's the other one? Not Shane Hill, but
Homicide Williams.
Yes, Homicide Williams. That's you, Mark Reddings. Now the Perth Glory. I believe we had our very own Mark Reddings on site for a report here. You went to the Glory game on the weekend.
Very keen, very happy to go there. Yes, thanks to Anthony Radich and the team from the Glory going.
Free tickets. Yes.
Corporate, yeah. Took my wife, gave her about 20 minutes notice. And
Tell you what, freaking fly, you're in the Qantas lounge, you're in the VIP. Is it looking up for Mark Reddings at the moment? I mean, you got your sponsored
Kia, yes, Osborne Park. Get along, support Tony Salerno and the team. But
is there anything you can't do? I look forward to going to the qualifier with Mark Reddings. We'll just rock up. We don't even need a ticket. Sorry. Tell us about the game.
I've got a friend who's going to work at Optus as well in marketing, so we'll just make sure we stay in touch with her. We did do corporate. I think probably it was 38 degrees and it was very hot.
And it's Macedonia
Park. Yeah, we're not going to it's not like Old Trafford. It was a little bit more understated. But 4,000 there. It was a great night. It was good fun, and there's something to be said in all seriousness about that tribal small ground where they obviously not great financially for the Glory, but in terms of atmosphere, it was pretty good. Yeah. I think Dan will back me up with that.
Yeah,
I can agree. Very good, but I didn't get the corporate treatment.
But he just walked through the gates. He flashed a stamp from from Pinocchio's or something from a nightclub.
Pinocchio.
What's it? No, sorry, hang on.
What,
from
Gobbles?
Da-
Is
no,
that
from Daisies. My daughters go to Daisies. You heard of that?
We don't know either, mate. We're
Okay, hippie club. There we go.
Yeah,
Hippie club. There we
hippie
go.
club.
Anyway, so
They won 3-1.
they won 3-1, and the quality that we saw, they were poor early, as in they looked as if they were out of their depth, but the quality when Adam Taggart came on was outstanding. Scored twice, his first minutes of the season.
I saw something about him not having a sponsor on his shirt.
Yeah.
Did Perth Glory not have sponsors or just him?
No, I think there was a mistake.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Because he scored twice, didn't he?
He scored twice. He gave them the quality that they needed. Spoke to Chris Coyne, our mate, after the game, and he just ran through some of the nuances. And Tony Popovich, former Glory coach, in trouble. They've had a shocking season, the Victory. They're down the bottom. They've had the issue at Amy Park with the Invaders.
They got fined a lot of money.
Yeah, Fornaroli, who's gone from Perth to Victory.
You wonder why they got rid of him.
Well, good riddance to him.
Correct.
And so, no, well done to the Glory. The boys have done a great job, and they've got a centre back there. I think they're signing or bringing to the club today. So hopefully they can just use that as a launching pad. And Tony Sage did spot him there on the weekend. He had a hand operation, so he was a little bit had the one wing affected, but he's still able to wave to the crowd on the way out after getting the 3-1 result. He's a good man.
Mobile coming out of the crowd. Now Perth Glory, they're 7th on the ladder now after being languishing down the bottom now. So they're moving
Some home
up.
games.
Which is good. Yeah. Talking about Old Trafford, Arsenal Man U last night.
Didn't see it, but Arsenal 3-2.
Arsenal 3-2. So I'm well and truly off the Minnesota Viking bandwagon.
Are you?
They've lost. They're out. See you later.
Gone.
Piss off. Arsenal 3-2. Top of the league, baby. And now, finally, people starting to think, actually, they're a good team. No shit.
They are, but the question I ask you, Man City is only 5 points adrift. And mate, Millsy on radio this morning said, it's all over. That's horse.
It's not all over.
No, of course it's not. It's a game and a half.
Certainly not all over.
2 games out.
Especially when Arsenal is involved, because as much as I am a fan, I do understand that they shit the bed quite often.
And Man City are a quality outfit.
Correct.
So they had a result against Wolves from memory. But yeah, Arsenal having a great season. Tim McMillan, a mate of mine's a massive Gunners supporter. So I know Piers Morgan's a very big...
He's not really something we like to hang our hat on, Piers.
No, I'm just saying people I know that, I thought, average blokes. Who do you back for?
Name dropping. I'm an Arsenal fan.
Yeah, just checking. Yeah.
Sam Butler, an Arsenal fan. Will Schofield, Mark Readings at Shelter FootyCast. Now, a little bit of, pardon the interruption to finish off here, Skeet. I saw this in the paper over the weekend and I wanted to know your thoughts. If the AFL's 20th team comes to WA, that would mean number 19 goes to Tassie, 20 to WA. Is that a good idea and where should it be?
I don't think we need a third team at the moment. I mean, Whites don't. I don't think we have the capability to support it at the moment.
The crowd numbers?
Well, the crowd numbers for who?
The Southwest Busselton Flyers.
Just sponsored by Shelter.
The Shelter Busselton Flyers, mate. I mean, you just understand where you are right now. You're on the Shelter FootyCast.
I love Shelter and I love your optimism, but I'm being honest.
Could we not put it at Busselton? I mean, if you're going to put it in WA, 20th team, you're going to have to build a new stadium, right? Let's just come with me for a second.
I'll come on the mystical journey.
Okay. If they are going to put it in WA, you'd have to build a new stadium, right? So it doesn't matter where you put it. Well, where else? Where are you going to put it? Leadable Oval?
No, but hang on.
Where are you going to put it?
How many teams play at the MCG?
Oh, so you're just going to play them at Optus?
Well, you can't go and build another $1 billion stadium somewhere.
Well, so where are you going to put the team? You're just in the hills?
No, wherever you're playing them, they're going to have to come up to Perth.
I was thinking down south. Population around there, get around a local population. Yes, but it's not that different to Gold Coast, is it? In terms of a population base that you're trying to attract.
I think understanding the Gold Coast numbers. I think Gold Coast is a
but it's not a footy. It's not a footy area.
Correct.
Down south is put it in Busselton. Fly the teams into Busselton Airport.
Yeah, that's where that works.
Straight in. Logistically, you come in and out. You don't have to fly to Perth, drive 3 hours down south.
Yeah,
a little boutique stadium. 10 to 15,000 people down there.
15,000. No, I'm just saying. Is that going to?
Yeah. It's not a strong argument, is it?
No, the argument is look, I understand.
The boys at Shelter would go very well down
and
there.
We'd have a great time, wouldn't we? Mind you, I'd be close to 60 by the time that happens, and you'll be getting old.
What's the argument?
Against?
Yeah. Capacity doesn't work.
Let me throw this at you. If there's 19 teams with Tasmania, would it not work better up in the Northern Territory where there's whether there's a financial enough financial backing there? The other question is getting players to go and live there. That's going to be difficult. But is that a more logical place than, say, down south?
Well, see, I would argue that climate and like playing every second game in Darwin, for instance, incredibly humid, incredibly hot.
Slippery,
like, not that you need an easy game, but it'd be so difficult to play there. Corporate support.
Yep.
WA would have that. They're just going to get a bunch of mining sides teams to sponsor the team and shelter. And Darwin's population certainly doesn't have it over a down south of Western Australia. I wouldn't have thought.
No. Oh,
Because
anyway.
if you put it in Busselton, I think people from at least Bunbury would go. You'd have people from Margaret River, from Dunsborough, from all through there, the farming district through there.
I think we're a
You'd
long
have
way off.
Freo and West Coast people driving down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think it's happening.
Okay.
I just don't think it's happening in the short term. 19, Tasmania, and then after that is a question, though. It's a fair question. Is there going to be a 20th team? Because the bye becomes an issue for, the broadcasters want the 20th team. That's what they want because they want to have that extra match.
They'd love 26 teams, probably. I don't know.
Exactly.
Because they don't really care who goes to the games. They just want people to watch them. And then what about this one? Having co-captains is a good idea, as we spoke about. Jai Simpkin and Luke McDonald, co-captains of North Melbourne. Do you like it or not?
Well, Sydney Swans did it back successfully.
They
haven't
did it last year.
Yeah, they did. But I'm thinking back to, early 2000s.
Yep.
I mean, I think the Eagles did it. First time I recall was with, might have been Kempy and Cousins, I'm guessing. So, it was something like, I might have got the combination wrong, but the Eagles have done it. Don't think Fremantle, did they have Fletcher and McManus?
Yeah.
I think they were the two.
Yeah, they did.
But why do you have co-captains? You tell me as a player, because to me it's a bit of a cop-out.
I hate it. I hate it. One, I don't think it's make or break to your club who the captain is. I will put it that way. You can have good, strong leaders around and good leadership group, but you do need a figurehead, I think. Excuse me. Just to, I don't know. I think it doesn't make. I don't know what you're sharing. What duties are you sharing? Just make one a captain, one a vice captain. And then you got one leader, and then you got your vice can help do exactly everything that they do. There's nothing you don't need. I guess what I'm saying is you don't need the captain badge to lead.
No,
and so
and be the voice of the club.
So I don't know what you're sharing.
Yeah, I don't quite get it either. Clarko's done it. Others have done it with success. But put it this way: in 2023, I'd be very surprised if, for instance, Luke Shuey and Nat Fyfe are not captaining solo at the respective clubs here.
Yep, there you go. Again, Mark Reddings. I like some of your takes at the moment, Skate. They're very good. That's almost done and dusted for us. Shelter XPA X Factor. We didn't give one away on Thursday. We're going to give one away this week. Can you guess who it'll be? West Australian. Big game player. Played a very good game. Cam Bancroft, 95.
Yeah.
Took the boys, got them straight into finals. No worries, all you like. Cam Bancroft gets the Shelter XPA X Factor this week.
Good call. AJ Tile skull about 6 to just try and desensitise after his spell. He's a great bowler.
Didn't he get hit in the? He got hit in the face late trying to catch it. Did you see that?
Didn't see that,
mate. He's come down, smacked it out, hit him straight in the face as he was coming to catch it from mid on. Absolute howler. You can give me a bit of music, Dan. I like it.
Did you see the Matt Kelly hit as well?
Yeah.
Going gangbusters.
No.
I didn't see it.
He got hit in the head.
He got hit in the face. Out. Ball bounced off the batsman as he was trying to run in. Straight into the face, blood everywhere.
Wow. David Moody, of course, didn't get to finish his spell because he bowled 2 waste ties. Hey, what year were you born before you leave?
1989.
11, 23, 34 tomorrow.
I think so.
Hey, the big boy turns 34. Well done. Enjoy, my friend.
Thank you, Skeeter. Who knows what's going to happen? Shelter FootyCast. Follow us on Instagram. You can email us, footycast@shelterbrewing.com.au. Shelter FootyCast, wherever you get your stuff. YouTube, podcasts, summer or sour. My birthday tomorrow.
Woohoo. The festival begins.